in several decisions of the Supreme Court, the Office of the Ombudsman was admonished for grave abuse of discretion, for acts of bending or twisting the law to expand its powers. I may cite several jurisprudence if I must, Mr. President. If I will be required. And we all know that the present Ombudsman, Mr. President, publicly flouted his predilection to bend the law. Does he believe that these decisions of the Supreme Court are wrong and he is not bound by these decisions?
Mr. President, the new ombudsman intimated to me that his direction is to abide by the Supreme Court decision, and the rule of law is supreme.
And therefore is not correct, and there is no basis for flouting those statements publicly declared that bending the law is all right, provided that he is not breaking the law.
Mr. President, it's a figure of speech, Mr. President.
Mr. President, why figure of speech? The office of the Ombudsman is a high office. We are not supposed to be guided by figures of speech. Our people might be misled into believing that it's all right to bend the law, provided we do not eventually break it. It should be explained succinctly, Mr. Speaker. It should be explained very well that that is not correct. That he was wrong in saying that. He was very wrong in confirming and even affirming that publicly in one of our hearings in the Blue Ribbon Committee. Can we expect that, Mr. President, for the Ombudsman to do?
One minute suspension, Mr. President.
Session suspended.
The current ombudsman right now, he intimated to me that he is very strict in not bending the law. In fact, he also intimated that he will abide by the Supreme Court ruling, as he believes that the rulings are forms part of the law, and the rule of law is supreme, Mr. President. So he abides by those principles, Mr. President, and he will carry that in his tenure as the country's ombudsman, and especially in his quest to hold people to account and to put people in jail, who, especially those who transgressed our laws, Mr. President. So those are the principles that he abides by, and those are the principles he will carry in his duty as our ombudsman, Mr. President.
Mr. President, abiding by that principle and acting otherwise is different. You say that you abide by the laws strictly, but you say publicly that you can bend the law. How is that? Doesn't the public need to be clarified very clearly on this matter, Mr. President? Our people might be confused by that statement. That's why I am asking whether he can make a clarification or he can make public apology for saying that, Mr. President. And this will be good for the country.
Well, Mr. President, we thank the good gentleman from Tarlac and Pampanga, Senator Marcoleta, for bringing this up. And this is an opportunity for the current ombudsman to clarify his statements. And this is actually the clarification that he is expressing to this august body that he will abide by the rule of law and he will not bend the law to serve any other purpose, Mr. President, or to serve any other being, Mr. President. So,
Can we,
Mr.
Sorry.
President, that's why this is an opportunity, and as he intimated to me, that he will always put the rule of law as supreme, Mr. President.
Mr. President, even for this issue alone, can I respectfully move that maybe we can suspend our rules? I want to hear personally the Ombudsman to say it for himself.
One minute suspension, Mr. President.
Session suspended. What is your pleasure after that motion?
Mr. President, with all due respect to the good gentleman from Tarlac and Pampanga, the Senator Marcoleta, we have very, very rarely given way to such a motion to suspend the rules, especially during budget plenary deliberations, with all due respect to Senator Marcoleta. So I apologize that it may not be possible also this morning, Mr. President.
So therefore, we are not entertaining the motion.
We are not entertaining the motion, Mr. President, but the chairman remains fully capable of addressing the important issue raised by the good gentleman.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you,
Yes.
Majority Leader. Muli nagpapasalamat po kami kay Senator Marcoleta at tinanong niya po yung itong issue. Nagbibigay po to ng oportunidad para sa ating bagong ombudsman klaruhin yung kanyang mga nasabi. At wala hong intention to bend the law. No, that's very clear. In fact, ang prinsipyo po ng ating bagong ombudsman is to follow the law and uphold the law. Dahil naniniwala siya na ang rule of law is supreme, Mr. President. So, para lang klaro, no, na itong nasabi niya ay isang figure of speech, pero wala hong intensyon na baliin po ang batas. Dahil ang kanyang intensyon ay ipatupad ng batas ng may integridad at may katarungan, Mr. President.
Mr. President, kaya ko lang naman po ipinipilit ang bagay na ito sapagkat I think even the Ombudsman as a lawyer himself believes in the court doctrine of our legal system, dura lex sed lex. Yung sinasabi nating bending the law will be inconsistent totally with this core legal system. Hindi mo po pwedeng kahit na konti. Tatanong ko nga sana to what extent can you bend the law that can still be acceptable? Hindi po pwede yun. Dura lex sed lex.
At ako rin po, sumasang-ayon po sa kay Senator Marcoleta, the good gentleman from Tarlac, Pampanga, na ang batas po ay dapat ho natin ipatupad. At wala ho yan tinitignan. Kaya ho naka-blindfold po si Lady Justice dahil wala ho tinitignan. At yan rin po ang assurance ho ng ating bagong ombudsman dito po sa bulwagang ito at sa lahat po sa bayang Pilipino na nanonood ho sa atin na ipapatupad niya ho ang batas na may integridad po.
Kasi po, Mr. President, nakakabagabag talaga. Sana po figure of speech lang. Pero nagkaroon po kasi ng pagkakataon na hindi figure of speech yun eh. Dahil doon sa isang pagdinig sa Blue Ribbon Committee, nakita naman po nating lahat. When a particular witness applied for witness protection program, and the law is clear, the provisions of law on the requirements on how to apply for a witness under the witness protection program. Nandun po lahat yun eh. The enumerations, the requirements are exclusive. Pero sinabi po ng ating ombudsman, then the Secretary of Justice, pinipilit po merong restitution. I advise him that he cannot do that because restitution does not appear in the law. But Mr. President, he insisted. So doon po nagkakaroon ng problema. While publicly, he declares that he upholds the law to the fullest. Pero in reality, it is not being done. How can you put a requirement which is not in the law? And he said that was his opinion. His opinion will not even matter, Mr. President. Does that opinion will even prevail over the strict provision of law? Yun po yung aking ikinatatakot, ikinababahala, na nami-mislead po yung ating mga mamamayan. Pati ang ating processes po ay nalalagay sa alanganin. That's why this is very important. Na kailangan po masettle natin ang isyong ito. We cannot bend the law. Kasi po, kapag pinanatili natin yun, it is as if the ombudsman has the power to refine the law or even revolutionize the law. No one can do that, Mr. President. Kasi po, tingnan na, ito pa po yung nakakabagabag. Still falls on this very subject, Mr. President. Kamakailan lamang po ang ating current ombudsman ay nag-announce na sa mga darating na araw, meron pong may issuean na warrants of arrest. Na mga iba po ay kasama pa natin sa kapulungan ito, Mr. President. Mr. President, may I ask whether the Office of the Ombudsman has the power to issue warrants of arrest?
No, Mr. President. Ang trabaho na ho nila, ang pinaka-responsibility ho nila is to ensure accountability, Mr. President.
Tama naman po yun, at ako'y naniniwala. Pero bakit niya po kaya nasabi yun? That on such a particular date, warrants of arrest will be issued. Does he think that he can preempt the Sandigan Bayan or even the RTCs, Mr. President, to issue the warrants?
Mr. President, this is a indicative timeline. Meron ho kasing sinusundan ng ombudsman na timeline at base po doon sa mga nakita nilang ebidensya, nakita ho nilang mga krimen na ginawa po ng iba't ibang personalidad. Kaya po ito ay parte lang po ng kanilang timeline. At yun lang naman po yung inexplain ng kasalukuyang ombudsman, Mr. President.
Mr. President, the Office of the Ombudsman is following a timeline. So paano po niya nasabi na on December 5th? Ano na yun? Anong date po ba yun? Ito po yung nakakatakot, Mr. President. Paano po natin mapapaniwalaan na sa timeline na sinet ng ombudsman, may palalabas niya yung warrants of arrest? Hindi ba ang ibig sabihin nito, pwede niyang i-preempt ang decision ng Sandigan Bayan or the RTCs because he's following a timeline. And the most intriguing issue here, Mr. President, is that he might be able to influence and preempt the decision of the RTCs and the Sandigan Bayan, just to make the timeline a reality. This is a very dangerous proposition, Mr. President.
But Mr. President, hindi naman po, no, dahil alam naman ho natin ang Sandigan ay under the ambit of the judiciary. Iba naman po ito sa trabaho po ng ombudsman. Pero bilang ombudsman, nakikita ko ho na dahil sila po ang magfa-file ng kaso, very optimistic ho sila na yung kanilang ifa-file na kaso mayroon pong kinahitnatnan at mayroon pong resulta. So yung resulta na gusto ho nilang mangyari ay mag-issue ho ng warrant of arrest. So, kasi very confident sila na yung kaso ay matibay. At very confident ho sila na yung ebidensya ay matibay. At yun din po ang gusto natin lahat. Ako po, very hopeful rin po ako na yung kanilang kaso at kanilang ebidensya ay matibay dahil ako rin po bilang isang Pilipino, gusto ko rin pong managot yung mga taong dapat managot.
Pare-pare po natin gusto mapanagot natin ang may kasalanan, Mr. President. Wala pong debate doon. Hindi po yun ang punto ng pagtatanong na ito, Mr. President. But the ability of the Office of the Ombudsman to predict even the timeline when the warrants of arrest can be issued is something that is troubling, Mr. President. Parang ang mangyayari, ayaw ko mang isipin yun. Ayaw ko rin naman talagang mangyari yun. Somebody can even preempt or influence the time when the RTC or the Sandigan Bayan may eventually issue the warrants of arrest. Sana wala nang ganung klaseng announcement kasi nakakapagduda kasi, Mr. President. Tingnan po ninyo, when the Sandigan Bayan or the RTCs eventually issues the warrants of arrest, do you think the persons or kung sino man yung involved na yun, that the Office of the Ombudsman wants to be arrested, pwede nilang questionin yung impartiality ng Sandigan Bayan or even the RTCs? Because there was already a timeline announced by the office. This is the thing that is very intriguing, Mr. President.
But Mr. President, with all due respect to the esteemed senator from Tarlac and Pampanga, with all due respect po, ito ay isang indicative timeline na tinitignan ho nila. Wala ho silang control sa magiging desisyon ng Sandigan. Wala ho silang control kung ano po magiging takbo sa Sandigan. Pero base po sa kanilang experience at base po sa kanilang pag-ayos ng kaso, lalo na po sa pagtingin po sa ebidensya, ito po yung tinitignan nilang timeline na pwedeng mangyari. Pwede rin ho yan hindi mangyari. No? Pwede rin ho yan iba po ang pupuntahan ng kaso. Pero naglalagay lang ho sila ng timeline para po makita naman ho nila kung ano po ang magiging takbo po ng kaso. At marami hong ganun. Actually, marami, pag nanonood po ako ng mga political shows sa YouTube, marami pong mga political analyst, mga legal analyst, sinasabi ho nila, ano po ang magiging takbo ng kaso, kailan po may makukulong, kailan po may i-issue ng mga warrant of arrest. Yan po ay based on their analysis and experience. Pero wala hong assurance, hindi ho yung magiging 100% na ganun po ang kinahitnatnan po niyan o ganun po ang kalalabasan. Ganun din po sa ombudsman. Ito po ay sa kanilang tingin ay posibleng mangyari.
So do you think announcing a particular timeline, Mr. President, is even necessary?
Ito po ay for purpose of information, Mr. President, and para po mabigyan din po ang publiko ng kanilang opinion pagdating po sa magiging takbo po ng kaso.
Mr. President, ang sinasabi po ng representasyon na ito, hindi naman kailangan pang i-announce yun eh. Dahil magkakaroon lang po ng pagdududa ang ating mga mamamayan, lalong-lalo na po yung mga taong gusto nating ipaaresto, sapagkat hindi naman kailangan na mag-announce pa. Kasi kapag sinabi mong meron po kaming timeline, parang siguradong-sigurado na po kasi ng opisina ng ombudsman na talagang mag-i-issue yung either the Sandigan Bayan or the RTC doon sa panahon na kanyang tinutukoy. Di bali, may isip ninyo, nasa ilalim pala ng impluensya ng ombudsman o ng RTC, ang mga korte, naiimpluensyahan pala ng ombudsman ang mga korte. Ganun po yung magiging maaring isipin. Maaring hindi totoong yun ang gustong gawin ng ombudsman. At naniniwala naman ako na hindi niya intention yun. Ngunit para bigyan po ninyo ng pagdududa ang ating mamamayan, lalong-lalo na po yung mga taong involved nga at gusto nyo ipa-aresto, parang hindi kailangan pong mag-announce pa eh. That is the only point, Mr. President.
Yeah, I'm sure andito po ang ating ombudsman at nakikinig ho siya sa mga suhestyon ng ating senador at bibigyan ho nila yan ng konsiderasyon.
Salamat po sa sagot. Mr. President, yung ating pong deputy, ano yung tawag doon? Deputy Overall Ombudsman ay taga-Bisaya, Mr. President.
Yung taga Mindanao po yung ating current Deputy Ombudsman. Tama ho kayo. Overall Deputy Ombudsman.
Overall Deputy Ombudsman is from Mindanao, but he is also the Deputy Ombudsman for the Visayas, Mr. President.
Opo, tama ho.
So,
yung acting po, yung acting.
The overall Deputy Ombudsman and also the Deputy Ombudsman for the Visayas regularly travels from his place to Luzon, and nga magastos po yun. Necessary po ba na sino po nagmamanage sa Ombudsman Office sa Cebu?
Mr. President, Senator Marcoleta, temporary po na bakante ho yung position na yon. Pero later on ho, ma-field up rin ho yung position. Pero sa ngayon po, dahil bakante ho yun, minomonitor po ng ating ombudsman itong mga opisina ito gamit po ang modernong teknolohiya tulad po ng Zoom, tulad po ng conference calling. So in other words, hands-on po ang ating ombudsman na sinisigurado niya itong mga opisina na ito ay tumatakbo ng maayos.
Alin po yung bakante, Mr. President, yung overall Deputy Ombudsman o yung Deputy Ombudsman for Visayas?
Ang bakante po ay yung overall Deputy Ombudsman for ito po ang bakante po.
Yung overall Deputy Ombudsman ang bakante po.
Yes. Dahil po suspended yung current overall Deputy Ombudsman.
Kasi po kaya ako tinatanong to, Mr. President, napakagastos po yung regularly na pagta-travel po ng Deputy Ombudsman. Galing pa siya ng Mindanao. Meron pa siyang gawain dito sa Maynila dahil nga overall Deputy Ombudsman. Naisip ko po na unnecessary expense po yan sa opisina ng Ombudsman.
Ang direksyon po ng ating bagong ombudsman ay talagang gawing episyente po ang opisina. Natural lang naman po kung may bagong liderato, inaayos niya yung kanyang opisina sa nakikita niyang pinaka-episyenteng struktura, Mr. President. So, hindi naman po nila intention na maging bakante ito at later on rin po ay malalagyan din po ng tao. Pero tinitignan nila kung anong pong paraan o anong pong structure ang pinaka magiging episyente po para po sa ombudsman offices, Mr. President.
Mr. President, bago po naging ombudsman, ang aking kaibigan, siya po ay magkaibigan naman tayong dalawa. Ikaw naman, dinideny mo yata eh.
Yun nga sinasabi ko, kaibigan pala kayo. Yun nga sinasabi ko. Narinig niyo yata ako, Senator Marcoleta.
Bago po siya naging ombudsman, Mr. President, siya po ay kalihim po ng ating Department of Justice.